Mrs Gaskell and Me. 2 women, 2 love stories, 2 centuries apart. Written and read by Nell Stevens. For Amanda, Grace and Claudia. Of writing many books there is no end, and I, who have written much in prose and verse for others' uses, will write now for mine, will write my story for my better self. As when you paint your portrait for a friend who keeps it in a drawer and looks at it long after he has ceased to love you, just to hold together what he was and is. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Disclaimer. Do you mind the law of libel? Mrs Gaskell wrote to her publisher when she was working on her biography of Charlotte Bronte in 1856. I have 3 people I want to libel. I have no people I want to libel. I have changed names, scenes, details, motivations, and personalities. Every word has been filtered through the distortions of my memory, bias, and efforts to tell a story. This is as true of the historical material as it is of the sections about my own life. Studies, letters, and texts exerted here are not always faithfully quoted. This is a work of imagination. 2 separate parties threatened legal action against Mrs Gaskell when the Life of Charlotte Bronte came out in 1857. I want to be like her in many ways, but not that one. Part 1. Body Study. 1855. What You Had. 1. A husband. When you wanted to talk about your husband, you talked about sermons. Sermons, you said, bored you. You sometimes called yourself a sermon hater. In the front row of the cross-street chapel, you'd fidget. Your mind would wander as your husband, the minister, preached. You mused about the people in the pews around you, about their lives and secrets, the things that they were thinking about instead of listening to your husband. And when you came back to yourself, you found you had missed almost nothing. He was still speaking. The congregation was still waiting in silence, coughing and sighing, crossing and uncrossing their legs. Sermons, of course, were meant for good, were meant to help you, support you, reform you. And yet, all the same, they were dull, 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 and what you really wanted was to feel something, do something, to be moved, to move, to love. Your husband, the minister, Mr. Gaskell, sequestered in his study in the middle of your house, in the middle of newly industrial Manchester, square in the middle of the 19th century. He was good to the core. He cautioned you when you were reckless or impulsive. He corrected the grammar of your letters before you sent them. He helped you, supported you, reformed you. And you, Mrs. Gaskell, waited outside his study door. You raised a hand to knock, to see if today he would come to the parlour and sit with you and the girls. You wondered whether today perhaps you might find in your husband a conversation rather than a sermon. A faint tap, quiet enough that he could pretend if he wanted not to hear. You pressed your ear to the wood and listened until it was clear there would be no reply. And then you stood there far longer than you needed to, resting your cheek against the cool surface. You were always lucky, Mrs. Gaskell. You were always grateful for what you had. And yet, all the same, you were restless. 2. A career. Sometimes days on end went by in a blur of what you called home life. Meals and clothes and correspondence, hosting and visiting. And by the end of it, you were tired and grumpy, but not tired in the way you wanted to be. You lay awake, exhausted, your mind alert. Beside you, your sleeping husband was eerily still. His body
Sample complete. Ready to continue?